Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. Okay, so I know this sounds awful, but I feel like somebody needs to sit there and say this. There's a point where where Stephanie is they're trying to get people to come to Everett's funeral. And I'm kind of just like, I'm glad that for the most part, they didn't really like drag it out. They didn't have you know, like an actual scene where she is giving this eulogy and everything like that. Because I'm gonna be honest, the character was wasted from day one. Okay, so she tries to get Connie. Cynthia saying, "Hey, well, first what she does, and this is where like Stephanie just comes across looking kind of stupid. She calls Gabby, and she's like, well, I need Connie's info, because she knows Everett and stuff like that, and I'm making trying to have like a small little service for him. And I'm like, Stefan, did you forget that, allegedly it was Everett or Bobby, whatever the hell you want to sit there and call him, was the one that put her brother in a coma? So, do you really think that she wants to sit there and talk to you? So, she gives her the contact number and stuff like that. She's really nasty and rude well, I don't want to sit there and say she's nasty and rude to her. She just pretty much just gives her the fire. And Stephanie just kind of just stands there looking stupid. And I'm like, how did you think that phone call was going to, like, how did you think that phone call was going to go? You're going to give a proper burial, funeral, eulogy, or whatever to the guy who damn near killed her brother, and you think that conversation's going to go well? I'm surprised she didn't just curse her out and just be like, you know what? Find it your damn self. The fact that she actually gave her the number was a little kind of odd because, in a sense, if I was Gabby, I wouldn't have done that. But anyway, she calls Connie, and Connie's just like, I don't know. I have no idea what are you talking about. And she calls Jada, or well, Jada, I guess Jada knows that, knows about the whole thing. And, she's sitting with Rafe and stuff. And, at one point, she starts to do the whole blaming herself. If I would have knew what Bobby or Everett did, I would have sat there and stopped it. And that it's just like, come on, bro, stop. Stop. You don't have a DeLorean. You can't go back in time. Stop blaming yourself. Now, don't understand, what I don't understand is why is she going to his funeral? Okay. She was acting like a raging Karen the minute that she saw Bobby. You cheated on me. You did this. I mean, she was like over the top about that whole thing. But you're gonna go to his funeral? Why? And she pretty much asked the mayor, hey, you think you could sit there and just sit with him for a little bit until I finish up this, thing with Stephanie and everything? I was like, so let me get this straight. You're asking the mayor that is running the whole town to just kind of sit with Rafe until you get back. Is it me or does that just seem kind of off to you? Anyway, um, Stephanie and Jada talk about Connie and the odd conversation that they had. And it strikes Jada a little kind of odd because Stephanie was like, Leo said that, he ran into Connie, and Connie was like, yeah, I know, I known Bobby way back, for many years. But the conversation was like, I don't know who he is. Why the hell you pretty much bothering me? And just kind of hung up the phone. So Jada was like, well, that's kind of odd. Now, in retrospect, it should have just ended there. But she does wind up going to Connie's place. I don't really understand why. Oh, that's what it was. She ran across Ava. And Ava was like, do you know where Connie's at or whatever? And so Ava was like, yeah, I know exactly where she's at. Also, she's a lie and a fraud, and she lied about her whole resume, and Melinda was gonna go there to fire her, but she resigned from the job. She's like, oh, okay. So she goes down there, starts knocking on the door. Now, like most of the fans of this show, I'm getting so sick and tired of these stupid ass Connie scenes. These dumbass Connie scenes that go nowhere. That just kind of just recycles itself. Okay, tell me if you actually heard this one before. Connie's not there monologuing. She's blaming Gabby. She's blaming Melinda. She's blaming everyone for hurting Lee and ruining her chance. And this is a way to sit there and get paid back for Lee. Does that sound familiar? Because that's pretty much how the majority of her conversations go. Whenever she's talking to Melinda, whenever she's talking to that cardboard cutout, whenever she was talking to the actor Lee when he was there, it's always the same. And I'm just so goddamn sick of it at this point. Even when she started threatening Melinda, I sat there, was like, okay, honestly, tell you the truth, either kill her or can we just move on with this damn story? Because I cared more about yesterday's story with Holly than I did about today's story. I'm just over it. Hell, there's a point where she does want to go into the office, and she's talking to Gabby. She's asking Gabby, which, by the way, Gabby, I'm gonna get to her in a minute, but she's not asking about Gabby and how the plan go, and Gabby's like, oh yeah, I hooked up with Stefan. I hooked up with his brother and everything like that, and she's all super hyped about this thing. And Gabby's like, I didn't think you was really that invested into what I was doing and stuff. Most people would have found that odd and been like, what is your issue? But Gabby has a bit of an ego. And Connie tends to stroke that ego. She's a Gabby stan, so, she's just taking it as that. And she tells her, oh yeah, I may plan on, knocking boots at him a couple of times or whatever, see how it goes. And just monologuing about her plan. There's a point where Connie brings out a knife and slut shames her, which, again, I've never been a fan of slut shaming, and I always find it very odd when a woman does it to another woman. Like, I always find that very odd, because it's already bad enough when men do it. When you see a woman do it, somehow it's almost worse. I don't know why, I just feel like it's worse. Anyway, Gabby. So after Gabby was sitting there, got off the phone with Stephanie, she ran into Ava. And Ava was there apologizing, and she was there being like, well, you should really try to take Stefan back. He loves you, and he didn't mean to hurt you, and this, that, and the third. And I kind of sat there, was like, why even bother with her? Like, why? I get that they may have some sort of friendship or whatever, so it's like, okay, I guess that's kind of nice, but at this point, she's ready to throw hands with you. And I'm kind of like, I don't know what this old Ava was like, but I'm pretty sure the old Ava was like, yo, listen. Old Ava would kind of remind me of Kristen. You put your hands on Kristen, your ass is getting bodied, okay? The fact that Gabby is just so like, pretty much F you attitude and F you energy or whatever, it's like, I feel like Ava should sit there and respond in kind. Or at least the old Ava, from what I've heard, would do that. This one, honestly to tell you the truth, sometimes I'm just wondering why is she even in town? But, she does talk to Stefan. She said that she did try, and she found out that Gabby slept with EJ. Quick little side bit. Stefan came in EJ's room and was like, where's Gabby at? And he was like, listen, I find her, I'm not going to sit there and tolerate these games. I'm pretty much kind of just done with her. But in the same sense, he says he's done with her, but he's like, stay away from my wife. So which one is it, Stefan? Are you done with her, or do you want him to stay away from your wife? Because when you talk to her, you basically say you were done fighting for her, which, don't slip back. Don't go backwards at this point. Gabby also came to the Rafe's room and was just acting like a complete and utter bitch to Paulina. And I know old school Paulina, if she didn't sit there and look at that situation and be like, you know what, maybe you're hurting because of your brother or something else that has nothing to do with me, she wouldn't have let that fly. Gabby did apologize because Gabby was like, oh, well, you're the one that allowed EJ to keep me locked up, for a crime that I didn't commit. I'm like, Paulina was doing her job. And all the evidence did point to you. Don't forget that. But she does apologize. She asks, could you sit there and stay with my brother? And she does. And for the most part, she was just sitting there catching him up on stuff. Towards the end, she demanded him to wake up, and then he did. So, which honestly, to tell you the truth, I knew that was going to wind up happening. The minute that we saw the actor, I was like, most likely he's going to wake up. He got back from his vacay and everything. The scene with Johnny chastising EJ because of the whole sleeping with his brother thing. I don't know how to take those scenes sometimes because I get that he's like, he loves his dad. He wants his dad to do the right thing. And 9 times out of 10, he tends to just does something despicable, right? So he's like, why would you sit there and do that? Why would you do that for? And, he found out that, hey, listen, he was with Ava. But he looked at the situation like, listen, he was alone for X amount of time or whatever. He was under a lot of stress and things just kind of happened. He didn't set out to deliberately try to hurt her. But you're doing that, and it's not even about Gabby. It's not even so much getting back so much as getting back at Stefan. This is about Nicole. I'm like, so now you're gonna sit there and psychoanalyze your dad because that's what he wants to hear. Just for the record, no one wants to sit there and have somebody else psychoanalyze them. No one likes that. So he lectures him to death. He walks away. He comes back. It's pretty much a letter, and the letter is, he's officially divorced. I didn't think that you can do that. EJ was like, she found some sort of way to circumvene around him constantly denying the the divorce or whatever. So it's official. He's divorced. I'm like, and he's all sad about it, but I'm just like, bro, out of all the women sit there and be sad about as far as getting divorced, you're better off without her. You're really better off without her. Most men are better off without her except for Eric. Eric is perfect for her because in a lot of ways, they're both just kind of terrible people. Let me see. Now, like I said, in the end, I guess at the Jada Lab, Stephanie's sitting there with Bobby's ashes and stuff, and she's all like, oh, goodbye, and she's crying, and I'm like, I just can't help but just to be like the whole time like, I don't care. I mean, my whole thing is like, I felt like the writers didn't even really put much into that character to really make us care before they decide to give him a split personality. So it's like, they didn't care so much about his character. Why the hell am I? Like, seriously, why am I caring so much? Oh, wait, I don't care. That's the thing. Anyway, I feel like that's pretty much about it. I can't think of anything else, but if I forget anything, write it down in the comment section below. I want to thank you for watching, and I will sit there and see you in the next video.